Alright, so just as the Steelers go into their bye week first in the AFC North, all three of our division rivals lose. The Vikings, the Texans, and the Lions all helped us extend our lead in the division, and they all played at separate times. So I got to hate watch each division rival one at a time. And of course, this comes right as the Steelers are starting to get healthier. So this video I'm making it on what is V-Day plus 15. So I'm going to be talking about each of these three games that our division rivals had. And so the Vikings and Browns. So it started out as a very physical, low-scoring game for the most part. The Vikings in the second half were able to run and pass all over the Cleveland shitstains. And Jordan Addison, he even caught the game-winning touchdown, right? But even though beating the Vikings across the pond isn't for everybody, because since the Browns couldn't score that extra 7 against Minnesota, you want to know who did? That's right, the Steelers. Because we beat them 24-21. Browns lost to them 21-17. But as of course we're about to play them this upcoming Sunday, I'm not worried about the Browns QB at all, because we usually do well with against rookie quarterbacks, other than Stroud from 2 years ago when we played them down in Houston. But it's like, but I can guarantee you this: we will show that Gabriel dude that the Browns have at quarterback. Okay, we're gonna show him what the Steelers have been doing to Browns quarterbacks, especially in Pittsburgh, for decades. But I will say this though. I don't think we're gonna just easily walk all over the Browns. No, they will play us tough, believe me. And there's one guy that the Browns got that I'm probably worried about, is that rookie running back Quinshon Judkins, because he was running and plowing through Vikings defenders on a whole lot of plays. The guy had over 110. The guy had over 100 yards rushing, and he's probably the guy that I'm the most worried about with Cleveland, other than some of the guys on their defense. But with that said, we always beat the Browns in Pittsburgh, so I'm not worried about us not going to 4-1. But with that said, it's like, of each of the 3 games that I saw from the rest of this division, for as crazy as it sounds, the Browns, as of right now, may actually be the second best team in this division. And they are mathematically in last place, because them and Baltimore are tied for last at 1-4. And it's just that the Ravens, of course, beat the Browns in week 2. And of course, speaking of Baltimore, let's get to them, right? So, I don't care how injured you are. 44-10 at home. The fans literally ran. The Ravens fans literally cleared that stadium because of how bad it got. Texans had not won in Baltimore until that game. They were 0-8 in Baltimore all time until they blew Baltimore's doors off. And I'm telling you, right? If the Ravens want the best chance to win until without Lamar, I'm telling you, they gotta put Cooper Rush on the bench and put Tyler Huntley in. Like, they should have done that during the game with Houston. Because, yeah, Cooper Rush wasn't the reason why the Ravens lost, but at the same time, like, Cooper Rush ain't gonna get you back into a game when you're getting blown out. Tyler Huntley, back in 2021, he almost did that for Baltimore against the 1 seed Packers. But, with that said, the Ravens, as of now, are easily the worst team in this division, injuries or not. Because even before the injuries really began to pile up, the Ravens' defense has been god-freaking awful. They can't cover, they can't rush the passer, and even on the ground, they've gotten gashed. Right? But, I never thought I would see a Ravens defense, even with injuries, look this bad. I know their defense got off to a bad start last year, but this bad start for the Ravens is like a whole different animal compared to last year. They're 1-4, and last year they didn't even lose. They didn't even take their third L until late October. And here we are in early October, they're already off to an ugly 1-4 start. But yeah, the Ravens have won this division back-to-back. I understand that. And I usually don't like to count Baltimore out, even if they're injured. But I don't know, man. In this case, I think this may be too much for Baltimore to overcome. I really think that. I think this is 2015 all over again. And hell, this may even be the worst the Ravens have been since pre-2000, when they first got into the league, inheriting the Browns players after that franchise disbanded for a few years. But yeah, the Ravens, injuries or not, this team is a complete mess. They're a complete mess. And I know a lot of people said, oh, but Derrick Henry could carry them to a win. I'm like, nah, look. All the Texans have to do, especially with Cooper Rush at quarterback, all they have to do is stack the box on Derrick Henry, and they've got this thing won. And after seeing that game, what I was trying to tell people with that couldn't have been any closer to the truth. I mean, hell, C.J. Stroud going into halftime had nearly 4 times the amount of rushing yards that Derrick Henry did. That should tell you something. Derrick Henry is not who he used to be. He is a late game choker. He's an opening drive / early game merchant nowadays. And the guy, and whether you like it or not, the guy is responsible for every Ravens loss, because late in the game, when the Ravens need to rely on him the most to get yards, the guy does nothing and he fumbles. It's one or the other or both. The Ravens, they may have won the division back-to-back years, sure. But let me tell you this. No other team has won the AFC North 3 years in a row. So for that reason alone, Baltimore is out of the division race, in my opinion. And now let's talk, of course, the Bengals, right? Let's talk about them for a little bit. So of course, we all know that Burrow won't be back until late December if the Bengals are lucky. But now, even though they of course got their shit kicked in too, they at least put up some kind of resistance against Detroit, until of course the Lions just exploded and put the game out of reach. Unlike with the Texans, where the Texans just dominated the Ravens literally from start to finish. But yeah, Cincinnati, Jake Browning just played awful, though he did improve late in the game, but even then it was still pretty much out of reach. Now, the only reason that I'm concerned about playing the Bengals on a Thursday night is, well, because we usually don't do well on Thursday night away games, right? Because we play the Bengals there in Cincinnati on a Thursday night, just days after we play the Browns at home. So it's like, I don't know, like, I definitely think that we should be able to beat the Bengals, but knowing Dumlin, he could fall into a trap game where we end up going into that game against the Packers 4-2 instead of 5-1. But like, with how bad this division looked, especially Baltimore and Cincinnati, right? Like, there is absolutely no excuse why we can't win this division. Like, we should win. Like, with the way things look right now, we should win this division by at least 3 games. But if we don't win the division at all, then we don't deserve to win the AFC North ever again. As I said in one of my previous, videos. We should never win the AFC North ever again. Like, we don't deserve to win it ever again if we cannot take advantage of the state of the rest of our division, and win and host a playoff game for the first time since 2020, for the first time in front of fans since the 2017 season. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. We're the only team worth anything in this division at all. And even though I'm pissed the fuck off that the Bills lost to the Pew-Stealing Deflatriots, I will say, now we have a chance to inch ourselves closer, if not into the conversation for, the number 1 seed, even though I highly doubt we'll get there. But we now have a chance to inch closer to it. With a golden opportunity to not only win, but run away with the AFC North. Because you see, like, with Lamar and Burrow in our division, we're not going to get too many chances like this to run away with the AFC North and win the division by far. We won't. And yeah, it'll be by default because of how injured Baltimore is, and that the Bengals will not have Burrow for basically the whole season, and with the fact that the Browns are the Browns. Still, even though I wanted us to blow it all up and clean house, since this team wants to stick with the same old win now approach, and with them having a golden chance to take that AFC North crown, this has to be the year we do it. It has to. And if we don't do it, if we fuck it up like we did last year, then heads have to roll. They absolutely have to roll. People have got to be fired for it if it happens again. I'm sorry, like, it's there for the taking. And if we fuck it up yet again, clean that whole fucking house. Clean it. Clean it all over the house. Clean everything the fuck out. And of course, now I'm going to talk about how the Steelers are getting healthier. So for those of you that have been keeping up with my community post, I brought up how Jaylen Warren will likely be back for Cleveland, and of course, for what we've been hearing, we're also going to get back Joey Porter Jr. and Alex Highsmith. Now, granted, I'm not a fan of Joey Porter Jr. by any means. I rant about how he keeps getting penalized and how overrated he is, but still, with how thin we were getting at corner at one point, I mean, it's nice to see that we're getting people that are healthy again. And even though Nick Herbig is better than Alex Highsmith, I mean, we could still use Highsmith in the edge rotation. And I also, brought up how Calvin Austin's his X-rays on his shoulder came back as negative, which in that case is good news. So it's not a major injury, though. However, I recently heard that he's not sure on whether IR would be an option or not. I mean, I'm hoping it doesn't have to come down to that. But if this team is, win now, then by that logic, I mean, trade for a receiver, trade for Chris Olive or somebody, especially if Calvin Austin is going to miss a lot of time. But again, hopefully that doesn't happen. Now Jalen Ramsey, I mean, if I had to guess, he probably won't be back until the game against the Packers. Because, he had that hamstring injury, and hamstring injuries, for some reason, I've always found them the most frustrating. I don't know why. I mean, I guess maybe it's because I feel like at first hamstrings don't sound like something that would hurt. But we've seen before how it keeps players out longer than we originally think it will. But yeah, usually the early bye weeks I don't like, but in this case it came at a good time for us, helped us get healthy and prevent injuries from continuing to pile up on us. And we're getting healthy at a good time to go 4-1 against the Cleveland Shitstains. With that said, that's the video. I'm out.